Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is the Congressional Bailout. And of course, we have with us to talk about the Congressional Bailout Dr. MParichuri, a professor in the Department of Economics and Finance at Tennessee State University. And of course, Dr. MParichuri, let me welcome you to the show this morning.
Thank you, sir.
And to tell you, Dr. MParichuri, how delighted we are to have you. As a matter of fact, our audience will probably recall that quite recently we did what we might consider to be the first edition of this Congressional Bailout, and we wanted you to come back and to sort of elaborate upon some of the things that you talked about. But before we do that, Dr. MParichuri, let's see if we can have you to sort of give our audience a sketch of your background, education, and some of the things that you were involved in before you became a professor at Tennessee State University in the Department of Economics and Finance in the College of Business, and then we'll talk about other things.
Yes, my name is Dr. MParichuri. After finishing my bachelor's degree in India, I came to this country in 1958. And I went to different schools in this country and did all right with these different schools, and finally I got my PhD. I started teaching at Tennessee State University since 1968. Before that, I was teaching for 3 years in Wisconsin. And ever since I came to Nashville, it's a beautiful city and a beautiful, very nice culture we have in this city. I really have been enjoying this.
And of course, you made great contributions to Tennessee State University, Dr. MParichuri, as I know personally, because people talk about some of the things that you're involved in. The last time you were with us, Dr. MParichuri, I think you will recall that we talked about some of the issues dealing with the economic situation that we're in today. And what we'd like to do is to sort of review at least one aspect of that, and that is this whole issue dealing with regulations. And then after that to perhaps talk about some of the other issues that are important to our listeners this morning.
Yeah. One of the most important thing is the regulation, which is desperately needed for these different banking institutions and the other different institutions in this country. The present mess was created because our regulation was not really good. Unfortunately, whether it's because of the political reasons or otherwise. You can go back to the early period and go to, take for example, Katrina, and the director who is supposed to provide all this emergency services was a partner, was a friend of our President Bush. And he did not have any experience in that particular field. And you all know about the critical problems we have had, and number of lives were, given up
with this hurricane
because of the hurricane thing. And same thing, the political connections had made this present crisis a real crisis. And if it is not for that kind of cronyism and other things, we wouldn't have this kind of problems as we have today. And especially if you look at the confidence in the different banking systems we have, it's just really unfortunate, that number of the so-called big banks have failed or are about to fail. And it would involve enormous amount of loss for the stockholders in these different companies, different banks. It's not only the banking system, it's even the, if the banking system is not too good, naturally that would lose, people lose confidence in the banking system. That would create a lot of problems in terms of credit availability to the average man and the small businessman.
And so in a real sense, that's where we are today. And this is on the eve of this tremendous rescue, as they call it, or Congressional Bailout, as we're calling it now. We're going to take our first commercial break soon, Dr. MParichuri. But when we come back, what I'd like to do is to look at this Congressional Bailout and to talk about how it is supposed to work. in some of the issues that deal with the ups and downs of the stock market. I think
Yes.
we're all familiar with
Yes.
that as a real problem.
Yes.
And so if we can look at that during this second segment, I think it will be helpful for our audience.
Yeah.
And of course, we'll be able to do that when we have that first commercial break. But essentially, this is what we wanted to do, to sort of start off by reminding our audience that this was a political created situation, whether it was Republicans or Democrats.
It does not matter.
It was created by the political
situation. It's created by both the parties. It is not just a blame, even though unfortunately the present administration has been in power for more than 7 years. It's almost,
Okay, and of course, we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break. We're talking to Dr. Parrichuri.